I actually recorded this thing already, but it turns out my phone doesn't have that good audio quality. So we're going to do it again, but this time I'm going to be more prepared. I've got my microphone, my laptop, my juice, and let's do it. So, what makes a song good? What is a good song? Well, you might think that it all goes down to matter of taste, whether the song is catchy or not. But the truth is, it's not that simple. To make a song catchy, you have to make it simple. And actually, that's how modern music is created. They want to make it as catchy as possible so you remember it easy and want to listen to it more in the future. But that creates just really bad songs and really bad art. Although it creates views, people watch it, people love it, people love that kind of music at the time. Because the truth is, whenever you make a catchy song that's, let's say, too catchy, it's going to become really annoying real quick. And the example of that you can see on the internet way more often than it's supposed to. Of course, there's also topics of music. People tend to get into subjects of murder, of sex, of narcotics, alcohol. Well, why? Because it's interesting. It's what drives people, and it's not what we are used to. And we want this real quick dopamine roll going on as fast as we can. So that kind of topics just makes it even want us to hear it even more. But it's not a good song. It's not a good music. To make a music that's good, you have to actually go away from those things. You have to a little bit just try and forget about getting this song as catchy as you can. Forget about the topic, because the most important thing while creating a song is to make it as interesting as possible, but at the same time keeping it catchy and groovy. And that's what makes a good song. The first thing that I want to talk about is taste, because everyone thinks that we all have this inner side of us, this artsy side of us that is able to tell whether the art that we are looking at, that we are discovering, is good or not. And it's a matter of skill. But it's not true, is it? You have to experience art to be able to have some kind of taste. And it all comes down to really one thing. You have to listen to it more. You have to listen to music as much as you can, so that you can really decide which songs are good for you. But when all you hear are songs from, I don't know, club or from a radio, then probably you don't have a good taste, because you haven't really looked into it. I'm not saying that the songs that you are listening to are not a thing that I wouldn't listen to, because I also listen to stuff on radio, and I like stuff on the radio because it's catchy, and by definition catchy makes you want to dance to it, right? So why wouldn't I like it? The thing is, there's also other side of music that's not as catchy, that's not as popular, but it is good. And why is that? Because they complicate things. And that's what I'm going to talk about right now. To make a song catchy, you have to make it easy. You have to make it simple. And by using only one or three notes in melody and some basic chords progression, you create a song that's not only catchy but also really boring. There's actually a couple of artists that show us that you can make more complicated song that's more interesting and more defined, but also still keep it catchy and beautiful. And the examples of it I'm gonna show at the end of the video, so just hang on. And also there's a couple of links probably in description. But what I want you to take from this subject is that you don't want to listen only to mainstream music because it's too simple. You want to also listen to songs that maybe not as much popular, but actually they represent something with them. And that's when I want to ask you, do you want to listen only to songs that everyone else listens to? Do you really want to listen to Dua Lipa, Pitbull? Do you really want to do it? And there's actually a great example of this. I've got a friend that's really into cars. I once asked him what he thinks about Volkswagens, about those cars that don't have really anything in them, but at the same time everyone drives them for some reason. So if you make a car that, let's take a Volkswagen for example. So it is simple, it doesn't probably cost that much as other cars does. It's reliable because it's easy to repair, and that's the reason why people like to drive the Volkswagens, because they're really easy to maintain and to get. You don't have to be like a millionaire to get a Volkswagen, right? And you don't have to know any cars knowledge. You don't have to really get into it. You can just drive that car and live your life. But there is a reason why when we talk about cars, we don't talk about Volkswagen, but we talk about Ferrari or McLaren. Because Volkswagen are actually shitty cars. They are not fast, they don't look really that good, they don't have anything interesting in them. But like Ferrari, look at this thing, it's gorgeous and it's fast. Rolls-Royce, it's a luxury car, it has so many beautiful things inside of it. But to have this kind of car, you have to have some kind of knowledge, you have to put in time, you have to pay for that car, you have to spend time on this. And people don't want that. People just want to get from point A to B, and they can do it with a bad car just as good as with a good car. So why would we want to pay thousands of dollars for a better car? And that's how it is with music I believe, because people tend to choose music that's simpler because they don't have to understand it. They don't have to listen to it that much. It can go on background or something. If they want to listen to it to dance, they can just, open Spotify, and probably one of the first things that will pop out will be some kind of Dua Lipa. So why wouldn't I want to listen to Dua Lipa, right? But I think that I am a guy who would really like to drive that Ferrari, who would go on a phone and type in Love, spend time listening to her, spend time finding her, because it wasn't that easy to find Love. Let's be honest, she's not that popular yet. And it's not that easy, it wasn't that easy to find Thundercat, as it was like with Kendrick Lamar, for example, right? And I just like to point out that if you're a kind of person that wants to drive a Volkswagen, I don't have any bad thoughts about you. It's not that I think everyone should listen to as best music as possible. And of course, I also listen to Kendrick Lamar. I also listen to Dua Lipa sometimes because it's catchy, and why not? And also, a lot of my friends are listening to those people, so why wouldn't I, right? But my point is that you shouldn't settle for only mainstream music, because there's a whole world that you're missing out on. And if you just put some work into it, some time, it will pay you tremendously, and I can guarantee you that. Some of albums helped me mentally, some help me every day to like just get through my day. If I have a bad mood or a good mood, what I'm saying is I don't, in those bad times or in those beautiful times, I don't listen to Dua Lipa. I listen to that albums that I really like, and it's awful that they're not as popular as they should be. Wait. I had to plug in my laptop. Catchiness. I've been talking a lot about how musicians want to make their songs catchy. And of course, it's a good thing to make it catchy, to make it rememberable. But it can be a bad thing. When you make it too catchy, then you also make it more annoying. So making a song too easy is actually a really bad thing, and we musicians always have to watch out for it. And modern music and mainstream media don't really care about that rule, I'll feel like. Sometimes I would listen to a song like one time and I would never come back to it, but at the same time I would thought that it took me, that it was hard. But again, I would listen to it like in a week or two. And that's why when Rebecca made that song Friday, everyone was so mad at her because she made this song too catchy. She made it too simple, and the chorus of this thing would just pop into our minds too often, and it would make us actually annoyed instead of wanting to listen to it more. The best example of how to make a good music, I think, is Michael Jackson, because he would make not only really complicated pieces, like there's so much stuff sometimes going on in his songs, but at the same time he made them so catchy and so groovy that all people around the world would like it, would listen to him. Even my mom listens to Michael Jackson, and she doesn't really listen to pop music that much. She only listens to like classical music, which is weird. No one likes classical music. It's boring. Well, it's not boring that much. I think it's boring. If you don't think it's boring, then you don't have a good taste, probably. So now the plan is to show you what kind of music you should listen to, and here a couple of examples of really good music that I think you should get into. And of course there's some kind of mainstream also, but I wouldn't consider them mainstream. I think Taylor Swift is mainstream. I think Britney Spears will be mainstream, but Tyler, the creator, no, he's not. Or is he? I'm not sure. It's just, of course mainstream music can be good also, but that's not what I'm talking about. Try to listen to music with more complicated chords progressions and more complicated melody, and that's all there is. And I guarantee you that they're going to be more interesting, and your life will be more full. And God bless.